still here at 12:30, so thank you for your patience. I'm really glad that everyone's pretty much in agreement of having some kind of representation at the table with Metro to be a committee or some sort of coalition. As you're all speaking on this, and I'm glad everyone's interested in being on this committee, I think one thing that is so important to have at the table are people who ride the bus. I ride the bus. I rode the bus here tonight. I took the 94, which is usually my bus that I use to get here. I ride the bus a little bit under 50% of the time to come to council. I take the 222 to get up to the Marriott when we have conferences there. I take the, which one it is, to the Metro station now. I can't remember which one it is. Also the Pink Line to take the Metro station downtown. I take the 155, but really only if I have to, because it only runs once an hour, and it's a pain in the ass if you miss it. I'm sorry, curse. If you miss it, then you're stuck for an hour. You have to decide whether to call an Uber or not, or walk. And I think that up until today, we have had so few people in this conversation who use the bus. So I'm not saying that folks who are on the Olive stretch are irrelevant. I'm not saying that at all. It's absolutely essential that folks who live off Olive and the businesses there have a voice. But it's also essential that the folks who ride the bus have a voice. And not just the residents who ride the bus, but the people who work in Burbank who ride the bus, who depend on the bus, people who would rather not drive to get to their job here in Burbank. It's so important to me that those voices are heard. And I have to say that based on some of the comments I heard is that it's really hard to know what it's like to be a bus rider unless you're a bus rider. And knowing what it's like to have no choice but to figure out how to get around without a car is a different mindset than this, well, I feel like maybe I'll take the bus if I feel like it. It's a different mindset. So I think it's really important to have at least somebody at the table who understands that experience. Of course, I'm advocating for myself to be there, but whether it's me or somebody else, I think it's so important. I also come to this particular topic with the mindset of a long-term view. And yes, right now it's kind of controversial, but I can almost guarantee you in 27, 28, 29, it'll be less controversial. Because as these folks who are in high school now, millennials, as they get older, they're going to be more and more involved in that. This is the group that's using it a lot. I was taking notes of who was speaking and getting kind of just a general demographic of who's speaking. And the folks who are in favor of the BRT and different elements of it is a very wide range of folks of ages and demographics and just all kinds of backgrounds. And I think that it shows that there is a growing, inclusive, broad support for more and more public transit for us in the future, so that our kids and everybody in the future can use this public transit and will not be strapped with the cost of a car if they can't afford it. And we don't know what the future is going to bring with the cost of living, the cost of owning a car, insurance, all that. But as we're seeing it now, it's just going up. So for me, I'm preparing for the future, and I'm thinking in that perspective. And I think it's so important that we look at it at a larger perspective that way. I also want to say that as we're having this conversation, a lot of our conversations in Burbank on issues is like, we got to make sure that the people we listen to are the people who live here. This is one of those projects where everybody who's in the region matters, because people will use the BRT potentially to come here to shop, to work, to bolster our economy. And there are folks who will never be able to afford to live in Burbank who work here or who want to visit here. And so this is really us being responsible participants in the San Fernando Valley, responsible participants in a regional system, to look at this in a way that's really holistic. So again, I don't want to minimize the local interests and the local concerns, but it has to be balanced with also being a participant on a regional level. From my personal perspective, I've been involved with this project since day one. When I first was involved with it way back, what was it, 2017? Yeah. My initial response was also mixed flow. I don't like the idea. But after really getting more into it and doing my research and then looking at other BRTs, I became much more and more favor of as many dedicated lanes as possible. And the reason why is because cities who adopt these fully featured BRTs, they blossom and they do really well. And it's not just the bus riders who do well, which they do, but it's the local economy. The BRT routes tend to be much more fiscally, there's more sales receipts and it's a higher earning area. The houses around the areas have higher property values. This is just a trend. Now, Burbank might be the exception. We may not have that experience if we do the BRT fully featured. But based on the research I've done, that's what we can expect. And so in my mind, I'm looking at Olive, right? I've been here for 26 years and Olive has pretty much been static. And I'm looking at that stretch and all the businesses there, and I'm just imagining them being full of customers and full of business and having a stretch that's just like blossoming business community. So I know some folks maybe may hear that I have support for dedicated lane. I'm thinking, oh, she doesn't care about business. That's why I actually support it, is because for me, I believe, and I may be wrong, but I believe that it's good for our business community. Will it be a change? Will it be difficult? Yes, there will be moments where it will be hard. But I think in the long run, it will be better. But that said, I am also listening to everybody's concerns, and all those concerns matter to me. All right, lastly, Mr. Mayor, before I wrap this up, not only do I agree with the concept of having a BRT committee, I also think, to some of the people's points, that this is a bigger issue than just this BRT line. This is, when you look at the Metrolink station and the Lake Street connection, this is an integral integration of a large transit route into what can potentially be, in our community, a transportation hub that connects everything together there. And that is bigger than just Metro in the city. I think that whole area is, where's my notes, sorry. There it is. That could be a whole Downtown Burbank Transit Hub Committee task force with Metro, Metrolink, the county, Lawson, Amtrak, Surfliner, SCAG, San Fernando Valley COG, all coming together to really figure out how we can fix this bridge, get folks over from east to west, get the BRT and the Metrolink station hooked, get people being able to walk or bike to the Metrolink or BRT, all that together. So this is, to me, a step towards that as well. So I'm looking at big picture. I am personally in favor of dropping the mixed flow hard line position for the council. It looks like I'm probably not in the majority here, but I just want to put my voice out there that I'm not in favor of having that as our position. If that's what we end up voting on, of course, I'll support it as a member of this council, but that's not my position. I prefer to drop it, but otherwise I agree with what you have proposed. Thank you.
Yeah, go for it.
Spoken like a true bus rider. I just want to say something, Councilmember Takahashi, that I do appreciate you saying. We have to think about folks who are riding the bus. And I appreciate very deeply the first part of your statement as somebody who rode the bus as a child and as a student here in our city. So I just wanted to say that. I'm very grateful to you for that. And I think that perspective is really needed at the table.